In this lecture, we're going to learn about implicit conversions from stdstring view to stdstring. And we're going to look at a simple example here. We have a function called sayMyName, which is going to take a const stdstring reference as an input, and it is going to do some processing on whatever argument you pass to it. It is going to say your name is whatever name you passed in there. And down here, you see we have another function called processName. And it is going to take a string view, and this function is calling our sayMyName function, and it is passing a string view as an input. Remember, my name takes a const stdstring reference, so it's going to take a const reference to a string, and we are basically trying to do an implicit conversion from a string view to an stdstring. And try to think about it. stdstring view was designed to try and avoid copies of strings when we tried to pass strings as input to functions. But we are trying to let the compiler do a conversion from a string view to a string. And we are basically telling the compiler to contradict itself and make a copy from a string view and create a copy in a string. I don't really know if this is making sense, but the compiler is going to disallow this because it can't be involved in helping you turn a string view into a copied string, because that's what we will be doing here. Okay, again, to try and make this super clear, the type of stdstring view was created to avoid copies of strings, and the compiler can't really be involved in helping you create a copy using string view and store that copy in an stdstring type. This is what we mean here, and the compiler is not going to allow you to do that. So implicit conversions from stdstring view to stdstring are not allowed. If you want to do that, you really need to be explicit about that and do things like this. You can call this function by saying, I want to construct a string variable from my string view here, and this is going to work. Now that you have an idea about this, we're going to head over to Visual Studio Code and actually see this in action. Okay, here we are in our working folder. The current project is implicit conversions from string view to stdstring. We are going to grab our template files pretty quick and put those in our current project. We're going to open this up in Visual Studio Code. Let's do that. And this is going to give us our main CPP file, which we should clean up a little bit. And we are going to close the left pane here and put in our functions below the main function here. We're going to put in the definitions, let's say that, and we can just copy what we need and make a declaration in front of main here. This is how I like to do things. You can do this however you want. The important thing is that you have these functions working as you want. Okay, we're going to put a semicolon here. Okay, now we have our functions in place, and you see that we have a squiggly line here. The compiler is complaining we are trying to use a string view and convert that to an stdstring because sayMyName is taking in a string reference. And an implicit conversion from string view to stdstring is not allowed. This is really what I wanted you to see. And if you do this in your application, you should know the reason why you are getting this compiler error here. The compiler can't be involved in helping you use a string view to construct a string, because the string view type was created in the first place to help you avoid copies. Because make no mistake, if you try to create an stdstring object from a string view, you are going to be copying whatever data the string view is viewing and storing that data in an stdstring. So hopefully you can understand that the compiler can't really be involved in helping you that transformation. If you want to do it, you have to do it yourself. So let's do it ourselves. We're going to comment out this call here and go down and do our fix. We're going to tell the compiler we wanted to transform from a string view to an stdstring, and we know that this is going to create a copy, and we are happy with this. And the compiler is going to let you do this. If you do this, you're going to see that if we call process name here, for example, in main, let's do that. And we're going to give it Daniel, for example. it's going to accept it, and this is going to run without a problem. We're going to build with GCC to see that this is going to work. You see the build is good. We can bring up a terminal and clear and run Rooster, and you see your name is Daniel, and this is working exactly the way we want. The main message here, don't try to do an implicit conversion from string view to stdstring. If you do that, you're going to get a compiler error, and the compiler is basically not going to allow you to do that, because that is really against the logic through which stdstring view was created, and the compiler is not going to be happy about that. We are going to stop here in this lecture. In the next one, we're going to learn about const expr functions. Go ahead and finish up here and meet me there.